Hello everybody. So today, finally back with another recent reads. I've been kind of terrible at making videos the last couple months, but I have been reading still, and I have more books to talk about. Really exciting thing that just happened. I just saw 21 Pilots, my favorite band, last week, and it was amazing. It was a great day. I waited in line for a long time, sat on a sidewalk for 8 hours, and it was totally worth it. I mean, the people I met were awesome, and the show was great, and I was only like 6 or 7 people from the barrier. It was really fun. So that's just an update. It was good times. Back to the books. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is a book that I've had for a long time, and finally I was like, I'm gonna read it. So I just did, and it is a fantasy novel. It's about this girl who's in prison for killing someone, and so has like the death sentence, and she gets a choice whether she wants to die or become the food taster for the commander. And it's been a while since I read this, but I'm gonna try and recall as much as I can. I enjoyed it. It was alright. I found it a little dull, and the characters and the story to be a little flat. And I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And then right away, because I own the sequel, I decided to pick it up, and it is Magic Study, and I didn't like this one very much. I gave it 2.75 stars. I found the characters kind of flat, and I find, like, in both these books, Valak so dull and boring and so run-of-the-mill. Like, of course there had to be, like, I feel like that love interest was just put in there just because there had to be a love interest, and it was so annoying, and I found the characters annoying, and, like, it just, it wasn't a book for me. It's just the writing style, not for me. I know they have really good ratings on Goodreads, but just not for me. So I probably won't continue on. There is one more book. Probably will never get it. Keeping on the trend of fantasy books I didn't really like, I finally read Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Yeah, really didn't like it. I've only read Fangirl by her, and I want to read more. I definitely want to read more. I do own Attachments. I will read that, but I didn't like this, and I only gave it 2 stars. I just found it's so childish, and like the main characters were like out to kill each other just because they had to. There was like no real reason other than they were supposed to. And then it was just very childish and kind of just boring for a lot of, like, nothing happens for like the first third. It just wasn't for me, and I didn't really enjoy it at all, but I will read more of her books. I was sick back in the early March, and I was kind of bedridden for a couple of days, and I made my way through the entirety of Humans of New York Stories by Brandon Stanton. This is just the huge, like, you've probably seen the blog on Tumblr or Facebook or Instagram or anywhere like that. I've been following it for a long time, and finally went through this whole thing. I would just like flip through occasionally and read, a few stories, but I read the whole thing in a couple of days, and I loved it so much, and it just warms my heart seeing other humans, and it just made me feel so much better about life for some reason. Finally finished this book, The Martian by Andy Weir, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was kind of slow. I think I started reading it in January, and I just had to like take a break because so much science and math are not my forte, and there was so much, and I get it, and I really appreciated it, but I mean, the character of Mark Watney and his humor and his personality are just amazing, fabulous. All of the rest of the characters and everything, how it tied together, was just amazing, and it was so intense and beautiful, and I loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. I was going to give it a lower rating, but by the end, I loved it. And I watched the movie afterwards. I loved it too. It was great. It was so funny. I mean, some parts with the music, and it was great. So the last book that I recently read was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I've read the Grisha trilogy, and I really enjoyed it, and so I was excited to read this. Plus, it's just beautiful. And this is about a heist. It's set in the same world, and yeah, it's a heist, and it's like these 6 misfit characters trying to break into this very high security prison kind of thing. Start off, it was kind of a little bit up and down. There would be a little slow spot, and then there would be like an exciting spot. There were some characters that I really enjoyed reading from, and some that I was kind of like, eh. But for the most part, it was really exciting, and by the end, it was very intense. The characters, the personalities were really great. Kaz, At first I was really annoyed with Nina and Matthias. Like, I found them really annoying, and how Matthias was so, like, angry and all this. But by the end, they were, like, a great duo, and it was great. And all the rest of the characters, especially Jesper. I really like Jesper, and I'll definitely continue on with the series. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So these were the books I recently read. I was on a fantasy kick a little bit. Anyway, let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think of them, if you want to read them, and, you know, all that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye!